through what we can. Okay, so I did go through the minutes. I thought they were good. Anyone else any comments, additions?
Good.
Okay, we'll accept the minutes as presented. Thanks, Leah. Let's see, what's the most innocuous stuff? Pretty much stuff that I want people to be for. We'll start with the town hall solar installation. It's going up. I don't know if you noticed, but they do have a little amount, so. And Jim said that panels will be going up next week. I don't know if they're doing that tomorrow. They still have a bunch of panels up. They did come and do a solar site survey. None of the panels need to go on the east side, so they're all going on the south and west, which is good. That was the preferred location. It also means that the snow retention system should be very small. They're going to have to protect this sidewalk out here, a little bit over there, but I don't think anything over here will need to be protected. Fortunately, maybe Jack will have some input on this, but I haven't gotten any numbers about the snow retention system. So the idea was that they were going to do the site survey to figure out where the retention needed to be and get us a quote. I will have to ding Ted Van Zandt about that. Tell him to get that to us. I think it's going to be small. I can't imagine that it's going to even be the $5,000 that was budgeted for. It just doesn't seem like that's the cost. So that is all underway.
Paul, is that snow retention system done by the same solar company or is it a separate contract?
Pretty sure they do it. The crew had been talking about, I came over when they did the site survey, was up on the roof with them, and they proposed to Jack that they just use the solar rails, the panel rails, as snow retention. Jack said no. So clearly there's something else that they want, that he wants them to use.
Yeah.
I imagine it has more surface area on the snow batters. Extend up a little higher.
Yeah.
But my assumption is it's just the only thing they stand.
Yeah.
So we talked something about doing media around it. Do we know when it's likely to be done?
I think it's going to be done by the end of next week.
I mean, I guess the bigger question is is there going to be some ceremony or a ribbon cutting or something?
I don't think so. You're the only one that showed up from the library.
They're probably still there. I was like, I can't do this. I've already skipped breakfast and lunch. Skipping dinner.
So this was a big meeting.
But they voted yes on all heat pump.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding. That's great.
And if we get the solar built, the cost will go from about $10,000 a year for the 3,400 square feet to about $2,800
Yeah,
for the 8,900 square foot. Oh, that's good.
Thanks.
So this is what you were going through.
Yes. Yep.
The numbers you're telling us about are
Option A revised 28. That one 2801.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Yeah.
Now I'm assuming that they were taking cost into account as well in making those decisions, and it turned out that they could afford it. Or did
They can afford the heat pumps are on budget as long as they decline the
furnace?
No, it was like a super fancy monitoring system that the HVAC installer was selling. That cost $60,000 to turn your thermostats up and down. And it monitored some stuff and it would like tell you, hey, by the way, the IT room is too hot. And
It had some alarm.
yeah, it had some alarm functions or the building's at 60 degrees. You should probably go check it or whatever. But Jim said we don't have anything that sophisticated on any of the current town buildings, and it was $60,000. And
There's nothing critical in that building. I mean, if you can put a cold alarm that will do that, for probably $200.
I feel like Nest could really
Yeah.
save us a lot of money.
Right.
And I mean, you can have programmable thermostats that are free in New Hampshire saves or whatever. So
I don't know why they come up with contractors that try and do things like
I think he was pretty transparent about it. I said, how much energy would this save us per year by using this system? And he was like, well, not enough to pay for the 60,000 in any kind of time frame. And I was like, okay, well then.
How was it presented for you to catch
How was it presented?
that allowed you to catch it, basically?
He said, this is this product that I sell and I recommend, and it does these things and it costs $60,000. So,
Good catch.
um,
I'm sure that stuff like that easily slides by under many circumstances.
yeah.
I mean, just the words, I recommend this.
Yep. Yeah.
That's good.
So that made that affordable. Now, the only thing is we do have to figure out how to pay for the solar. That's not in the budget and it's not currently funded with, by the Library Foundation hasn't currently funded it. But anyway,
Do they have excess funds to fund anything like that?
well, we're giving a big check to this, a vanity check to the select board on Monday, reducing the bond by 405,000. We pledged
By how much?
405,000.
Reducing it by that?
Yep. We pledged 320, I think, because that's what we had available in whenever the warrant was written. But we've raised more since then. We had 2 applications that'll probably get us $30,000. We have a grant application out that I don't think we're going to get because they've awarded 3 last year to the whole country, and I already know 2 libraries in New Hampshire that applied for it. So
Was that the EB?
EBSCO, yeah.
Yeah, the EBSCO grant. How much is did Jack give an estimate on the cost of the solar?
About 103,000 for the solar, and that does almost all of the electric. As you can see in that number, it doesn't do all of it,
No, right.
but it does almost all of it. And even if we were able to fund, say, just the ground mount or just the, I don't know which one's the better option, or just the rooftop, that still gets us below the current operating budget for the existing building.
Even with the partial system.
Yeah, because it's so crappy right now. It's $3 a square foot energy use for the current building, and this is like 30 cents. So,
do you know if the library committee are they considering using some of their additional funds to pay for this, or is that not allowed in some way?
it is allowed for us to continue raising money. And there is the intent to use that to fund solar. There are a couple other little things they need to fund too, like some furniture that isn't in the budget or whatever, but that is the intent. And we've already received donations that are targeted to solar. And if we get the 2 bank awards, which I think we will, that'll be $30,000.
What are the bank awards?
The local banks are committed to supporting their community, and we've applied for 2 $15,000
Grants.
or gifts, I guess.
Gifts.
And they, First Seacoast had already promised it. They just hadn't processed it, and they have to get their board to approve it in July, I think. But that's like 90% going to happen, and I think Citizens is going to match them.
Oh.
So, that's a good start.
Yeah.
And then we've got 6 to 12 months to come up with.
How much more funds, it sounded like the library committee has some funds still reserved.
We're giving everything that we have up to date to the selectmen on Monday, other than like $5,000 for
Oh,
just operating
Operating.
expenses. But we expect to receive these monies after that date, the $30,000, and so that will. And then there was a donation that was made that was restricted to just being used for solar. I don't know the dollar amount of that, but there will be another one made. My husband and I are going to get another small amount too, so that'll probably get us to like 35,000 maybe. Of the 105,000, and then we are eligible for the 30% rebate.
yes,
It's just that you don't get that money ahead of time.
no.
So I don't know what.
Were
needs
you
to happen.
figuring that already into the?
No.
Oh, really? So
No.
that's off of that.
Well, except you got to
But
pay
comes
for it.
afterwards.
Yeah, I don't know. Town probably doesn't have a big credit card.
Yeah, I don't know how that's handled.
Not sure how that works.
It's not like the library has the surplus funds to cover until that. Do you know how any of that gets handled, Rob?
What was the question?
Well, it's that the federal credit that the library will get after taxes. It's not a tax credit anymore because it's a nonprofit organization, but that doesn't come in until after the funds are expended. And how, is there any way for that to be covered?
I feel like, like $33,000, you might be able to get somebody to interest-free loan it for that amount of
Right.
time.
Yeah, we're talking about the fact that federal funds don't come in until after the fact. And how do you cover that? Is that generally done with a loan? Kind of on the basis of income tax credits?
The ones that we've been involved in, the town's just funded it.
Oh,
So.
that's okay.
Be very different.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I wonder if we could talk to the bank that's giving us the money and ask if they could give us a very low interest
You
loan.
know what? CDFA, what's that? One of the towns we did. CDFA loaned them the entire sum of money. And they're gonna take the 30% after the fact.
Really?
Yeah, so we can do that. CDFA will do it.
The town has incident funds and discretionary funds and things like that. I don't know, if there's a guarantee it's going to get reimbursed, then I imagine there's probably some way that they get them.
Well, it sounds like there's options. They didn't discuss this.
They said, you won't get that money for, 12 to 18 months after.
Yeah, so it's not just the solar money, it's the Energy Star funding money comes at the
Yeah,
end.
there's a lot. Assuming there's a good bit of 30%.
Well, it was $10,000
$10,000
for the utility stuff.
10,000 for that, 10,000 for the solar that would come at the end of the project that could fund pretty quickly, and then the 30% doesn't come until tax year.
Oh, I see. And the 30% is gonna be 30% of how much?
Solar, right?
Just solar?
Yeah, well, I don't.
I thought it would be more than that. I thought it would be more.
There's all this talk about an extra 10%.
No, I mean just the straight 30%. I thought that won't apply to the heat pumps.
I don't know if it applies to
No, at least my quick search says, no, you might get, there's a number per heat pump. And that they tossed out an estimate of 15,000 for that, right?
Right.
And it was based on how many tons. What did he say? $500 a ton? That was a
That's what it
30
said,
ton,
$500.
and it was 30 tons, so he guesstimated 15,000.
Oh,
And, honestly, the 30% is reduced because I'm not putting any markup on it, so. It's 30% of the project, it's not a price.
right. Was there anything else to report after Cindy left?
No,
And we have, in your absence, done the library update. Was there anything you wanted to go over on the energy one? Here?
I mean, you can see what's going on. Talking about this.
No, the library.
So I have to, honestly, have you heard about this aero barrier thing?
There's a million different kinds of air barrier.
No.
materials.
No, this is, they come in and they pressurize the building
Okay.
and they
Yeah,
blow
this is
this
weird.
crud into the air. And
Well,
it fills.
I have heard.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it beyond that, but don't be in there when they do it.
Anyway, my impression was that they're doing a lot of proactive stuff with the building, which would be a benefit.
Good. No, I didn't know that was what that was. That's, we'll see how it works. And they will do pressure testing to verify after.
The chemical company seems pretty good. Pretty confident in what they're planning on proposing.
So they'll do air sealing prior to that. Will they put in the insulation in the attic?
Well,
before that? It
so
doesn't
what's
really
being
matter.
talked about in the attic is sucking out all the existing insulation, cleaning it up, putting 2 inches of foam above the sheetrock,
Oh, really?
and then R60 cellulose on top of that. So they're gonna do the foam first before they do this aero barrier.
So, okay, so that should seal that pretty well, and anything that doesn't hit the air barrier should get.
Yeah.
Good.
The heating system is currently today running at full capacity in the unoccupied building. But there's even better news. The IT room is ice cold and being super cold.
There's no equipment.
Correct. Well, nothing that's turned on. I think
Yeah, it's just,
Who's paying this bill?
the current
it's
owner.
HCA is propane.
What? So, no wonder our health costs are so high. Yes, I keep these buildings.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I particularly love that the furnace is dueling it out with the cooling unit. That's awesome.
Can this not be turned on? You can't, you don't have any jurisdiction.
Can't touch it.
there, yeah.
It's not ours yet.
Tell them the tank, the propane needs a refill. Okay, that's it for the library. We already, Jack.
We were talking about media.
Oh, right,
Interrupted,
yeah,
actually.
so back to the town hall solar installation.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to write something up, that we could get out around the time of it's done, I guess, or we could invite or have a photo or something.
When will the monitoring system go active? Do you know?
Usually I don't turn that on until after Eversource has done the approval.
Okay.
So that's easily 3-4 weeks out.
Do we know if do they not have a power purchase agreement on this building? Did they exclude it?
We have a power purchase agreement as well.
So that needs to be, is that going to be canceled?
It was supposed to be rolled into the other one for the other buildings, and it didn't get rolled into. They've left it just the way it is, so
Doesn't it
When
expire?
does it
it's
expire?
supposed to expire in last December. And then this building would be added to the rest of the buildings. Didn't happen. We're still on the old agreement.
Well, it's good that
And
it
10
didn't
cents
get
a-
added to the rest of the buildings, because, then we won't have to extract.
It's less than a penny, a kilowatt difference.
Did the contract automatically renew?
Renewed, yeah. The trouble is, it's not so much the difference, it's that we will not get credit for the energy that's pushed out. So,
And when the solar
right,
is activated. yeah.
right. So that's why we want to.
Yeah.
I'll talk, I wonder if this slipped Connor's mind because,
He didn't seem too worried about it. He's known about it.
okay, yeah, I know he knows we've spoken about it. Okay. I'll talk to him about it when I talk to him about anything, but at least he's aware. Did they come up with any numbers on the snow retention system?
We looked at it real quickly, it's gonna be way under 5,000.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
mean, it's just that corner.
Yeah,
Maybe a couple grand.
okay.
Well, if we're gonna write something up, I need some specifics on the lots and just basic things that people want to know, I guess.
Okay.
One of you can send that on to me.
Sure.
And by the way, get 3 panels bigger.
Oh, yeah, you know, my cellular company deleted your message out of the goodness of their heart, so.
You have to buy full pallets.
Okay.
So there are 3 panels left over and there's room up there, so.
But
Just put them up there.
If Doug is doing the media outreach, is there an opportunity somehow to establish, whether it be a foundation or some way to fundraise, right? You know, putting it out there that we're looking for donations to install solar elsewhere in town, the library, which we're, you know, it seems like there could be a way to get private.
Yeah, I was thinking of at least saying, you know, next up is the library and we could mention that.
But how could someone give money, like say tax
Oh.
deductible?
Yes, well, they
Right.
could give it to the Barrington Library
Yeah, for the
Foundation.
library,
or some-
That's a PayPal and button on there. So if you put a link
That's
to
on
the
the
BLF,
website.
yeah,
But you also want them to explicitly say that this is for application for the solar.
Yeah.
system.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, they can,
Yeah.
they can and they should, yeah.
So there's a drop down of where you want your money to go, like.
No, but you can put a memo in.
Okay.
You know, so they'll print it, but that's what.
You're thinking of more general.
But I mean, I think that would be great, but you know, just around town or, you know.
I don't know how that, there would, I mean, I don't know if the town can take that. Do they have?
You can take gifts. I mean,
You'd have to
the
be
conservation
approved by the
commissions
select-
have gifts.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have to be approved by the select.
yeah.
And a fund set up specifically for that purpose.
Yeah, probably.
So maybe we should start with, since this media is time sensitive, the BLF.org.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's easy.
But that's a good thing for the future to think about.
And I assume I'll have to run it by Connor. I'll probably look to get a quote
Yeah.
from him or something
Yeah,
anyway. So,
please submit what you write up to the group
Sure.
for comment
Right.
and take a look. So,
So I think it'll be done in a couple of weeks or just kind of thinking.
Well, is it really gonna rain for the next 12 days?
Yeah.
That's really where we are.
Yeah.
I mean, they got pretty far today.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really, that should only be.
but if it's, the monitoring isn't turned on, you know, until Eversource, you know, approves everything.
Yeah.
That's gonna be, it sounds like it's a month off.
Yeah.
Okay. So, July. Yeah, 4th of July,
Yeah.
fireworks and.
My son will come down and provide them.
We don't wanna know that. Okay, community power. There was a board meeting, last Friday, as I recall, which I attended virtually. There's now 59 members, Mason, New Hampshire, a town that I have never heard of and don't know where it is, was the last one to join. They're now serving as of our enrollment, wave 3, they're serving 41 communities. They're working on 22 new communities for wave 4, which should be in October. It probably won't end up being that many. I think they're usually a little optimistic, but ours ended up being bigger than we expected. So maybe I'm wrong on that. At any rate, it's still, though there weren't very many new communities enrolled. I mean, 50, you know, it only went up by one town this month. The number that they're actually, or the membership went up by one. The enrollment is going up fast. So we'll see where it ends up. It's going well. One of the long discussions in the meeting was on how customer refresh is going to be handled. What customer refresh is right now, every quarter, the utilities are required to put together a list of new customers who have either switched back to default service or have been newly enrolled in buildings, new meters, things like that. New accounts, newly enrolled, and the town, well, the coalition then needs to be notified of them so that their default power can be switched over. So they may be on default from the utility for a very brief period, and then they would be switched over to community power. But when that's done, as we were, they have to be notified of their options. Find about opt-out. And it's a little bit complicated on how those lists get handled, and they were hammering out the policies for that. If anyone wants to look at it, it looks like they've covered all the cases.
Well, so if someone leaves their third-party provider to go back to default service, then they automatically get dropped into community power?
They will.
Yeah, I just did that. I ended my third party contract. And I still, when I went to log into community power, it was, I was NA, so then I opted in. To
Uh-huh.
But I don't know if I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Well,
But no, because if they dropped out of the third party, they're put back on default with the utility. And that at some point after that, when the quarter comes up, they would be enrolled unless they take action. Do you think that's a problem? Tell me, I can take this up.
it's just a PR issue. You know, it's not like we. I mean, I can, you know, you get. It's not a lot of people, but you've got the person who specifically decided they want to get off third-party supply and they want to go back to EverSource, and then you're going to flip them again.
Well, no, then
Unless
they get the letter,
Yeah.
the same letter we got.
Yeah.
And then they would have to opt out.
Yeah, it's not ideal. That's all.
But why else would you? Why would you do that? Like, who's gonna do this?
Well, why did people opt out? Because they don't, the people who were in the meeting who don't think big government should be involved in it.
Mhm.
And they consider this to be government.
Yep.
And EverSource, they don't consider it?
No.
Okay,
It's
it wasn't much.
investor-owned
all right, that's fine. I'm like, what? Like, okay.
Yeah.
No, if they want to pay more, they can pay more.
No, seriously,
many
like, you
choices.
would literally be saying, I don't wanna use this third-party vendor that charges me 10 cents or whatever. I wanna pay EverSource 20 cents, like, that would be the decision that's being made.
There will be some people who that would be their attitude.
Okay.
Small numbers, I don't know if it's gonna come, but chances are we'll get some complaints.
There are people out there with that attitude.
I mean, there are people who have opted out. We'll get to that. Anyway, that is the customer refresh policy. I get it. I think it makes sense. I see what you're saying, but I don't see any way around.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you recall, but we had some long discussions, misunderstandings about what the reserves were. And I don't know if any of you recall, there was a concept of discretionary reserves, which up until now they had not figured out how to do it, how to put the pieces in place for that. They now have put that in place. I don't believe we're interested, but this is something that the committee should decide. The discretionary reserves allows the town to put an adder onto the rate, which is then set aside for use by the town on an energy-related project. Yeah, I think it's, yeah.
I think the pitchforks would go.
I don't.
I thought the discretionary was there's gonna be the excess funds that go into the buffer. And then there'd be excess that could be used discretionarily proportionately by those who contribute.
No, that is when, it's not called, I can't remember the name of that reserve, but they will build up, that reserve will be built up until a certain point, and then it's supposed to come back to the towns. Discretionary reserves allows the town to do a set aside, specifically for implementing some kind of. I think there are much better ways for the town to go about doing that.
So that kickback though, the other reserve, when would something like that actually materialize, say for Barrington?
Oh, it won't be, the targets for those reserves are about 5 years out.
Oh,
So it's a long time.
I was thinking library solar panel.
No. Because they have a couple of targets. The first target is to get up to a 60-day reserve and a 120-day reserve. The 60-day reserve is something like 2 years out.
Okay.
120 is further.
Gotcha.
But rates should be coming down as a result of moving those targets. Annual rates. Thinking of something else. Annual rates are basically a commercial entity where there will be a fixed annual rate offered. And I'm interested in that because I'd like to approach TurboChem to see if they're interested. The town may be interested in that as an alternative to the power purchase agreements, but obviously they're on contract, and it would be quite a while before that would be considered, but it will be an interesting conversation.
How many TurboCams have solar?
Just the one that I know of. But they may plan for more. Yeah, I wonder. Because they're doing third-party power purchase on all their facilities as far as that.
Probably.
Pretty sure they're-
May not care.
They may be using everything. I mean, they run 24 hours a day.
Or they may not care if their third-party rate is really low, jump in.
At any rate, when this annual rate becomes available, I'm going to try to set up a meeting. See, TurboChem, I understand. Good thing to do. It's done a lot for the town. Progress on net metering is non-existent. There are a few things that have come up. Basically, I think the main problem at the moment is that the governor does not want anything to progress on net metering. Doesn't want any additions to it, and he is basically saying the DOE is following instead. And the PUC seems to be doing so as well.
There's a rate case going on right now about
Oh, like
a
this?
rate case that's been going on about net metering at PUC for about a year now.
2 years.
So it's something's, isn't there?
It's DE 2260. And now the PUC has proposed that we do a national study on this.
Which has already been done.
Which has already been done. And everyone is opposed to doing this, and there's going to be more hearings on it. The long and short of it is, it is really too complicated. So I
Isn't there
thought
some legislation also? I saw some,
HB 1600.
yeah,
Yeah.
sounds right.
That's for 1 to 5 megawatt projects being allowed to net meter. That's the one that I think the governor specifically came up against. It's gone into a study.
But yeah, that's what I heard.
And I got to admit, the intricacies of what's going on with this stuff between the House bills, the PUC, and the DOE cases, it really is hard to understand. As far as, as you know, there's always been the concept of projects under being done by the coalition, which communities, members could then join into. It appears that the first two projects are under review now. One's a biomass generator, another's a solar power generator for 1 year, 20-year contracts. So the process for that project approval is what you see down there at the bottom. I believe we are at step B on that. The RMC is the risk management committee. They're the ones that evaluate that. There's going to be a meeting of the RMC on Monday, which I will attend virtually. And I'm hoping they'll be discussing it there. There's a process to go through before, and when the process is done, it's presented to the town as an option for joining it. I don't think Barrington's going to be interested in this for some time, but I will keep everyone appraised. And that was the board
What's the RMC?
risk management committee. The rate setting is coming up. This, I probably shouldn't be having this on here since this is being recorded. I'm not sure if this is for public use, but I have it. I'm showing it because I couldn't find good dates otherwise. So IOU is an investor-owned utility. You can see that Unitil, Eversource, and Liberty will be figuring out their rate. They'll be setting up their contracts and then figuring out their rates over the next few weeks into the third week of June. When they announce their rates, the coalition will do an analysis to evaluate its rates. That will go between the risk management committee and the finance committee late in June. And a decision will be made by the 27th by the board. At that point, I will probably send you the new rates. They should not be posted until the following Monday. The following Monday. Unfortunately, this was brought up at the public information session after everything was approved. Unfortunately, the coalition does not yet have a plan for notifying customers of the new rates. I really think they should do that. Connor had mentioned this to Henry, and I am going to bug Henry about this because I think that is something that really should be done. I don't know if they would do mailing. Mailing was kind of expensive, but really, in the greater scheme of things, I'm not sure that $4,000 to do a mailing to the customers is that much.
You posted on their website, right?
It will be posted on their website and it will be posted on the Barrington.
I was gonna say that they handle all that.
They handle all that.
Automatically, because the rates right now are on it.
Right, and I'm assuming it will be updated that Monday, and I will check.
Customers have the option of a newsletter sign up or something. They said,
I'm not sure.
I think that customers could sign up for,
Was there something in the letter?
when he had the presentation.
Oh, yeah,
I said
yeah.
something about email sign up.
I think he did, but in the absence of knowing anything about it.
If there is, we could put that on our website to say
Yeah.
that if you want updates about regular updates, you can sign up at the.
I question whether that exists because I mean, it would have made sense that that would have been in the letter and then it would be on the website in order to do that.
I mean, considering all the towns that have been doing this for months or years, you'd think they would have a process.
It's a shame there isn't a process on the piece of mail they get. They're getting mailing already.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the number will be there, but I mean, is Eversource, did they put out a notice? I mean, they just,
Well, they.
I mean, it's, yeah,
Press.
in the media, right?
I don't know what kind of message of the coalition. research.
Even just the rate.
Just the rate. That would be a great place to be able to do this.
I think Hampshire should do it too. Well, utility.
Yeah.
It seems like, yeah, sending the mailing already.
We can open a case with PVC.
Yes.
We'll leave it to you,
Sounds
John.
fun.
Sure others have thought of it.
So I'm just bringing this up because Connor wrote me yesterday and asked if I had any new results on what the act out information was. And so I said, it turns out I got notified that I have an account with the coalition now, a Microsoft account. So their SharePoint system and all of this other crap. From what I can tell, the coalition is using virtually none of what they have signed up for. But I was able to cruise around and eventually I did find the latest information. And there is Barrington. And it looks pretty good. And this is the raw data that we get from Calpine contractor that handles this stuff. And it will be eventually within the next 3 weeks or so massaged into a better form. Apparently, when you opt up, that is counted as both an opt out and an opt out. So the numbers are a little bit hard to interpret. So the opt out number is actually probably somewhat smaller than 88 by the number of people who have opted up for the other programs. It's a weird thing, and they will account for that when they do the final report, which we get in the board.
Why are there opt-outs in the Clean 50 and Clean 100? People opt in and then
There's
opt out.
only in Granite Basic, so the opt out.
It's opt in and opt out.
Why is there opt in for Granite Basic?
No, we're Clean 50, Clean 100. Why are there anyone opting out?
Where do you?
So opt out. Sorry.
Yeah, they're opting out. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why Granite Plus below Granite Basic. So Granite Plus is the 33%. Then comes Clean 50. Basic is on the bottom. Yeah. the minimum.
So do the solar users have to opt out?
No,
No, they shouldn't.
I checked. I tested that. I actually signed
They
up.
weren't active.
I got rejected. Got over it.
But Connor had asked for this, and so I actually didn't think I was gonna find it. Eventually did. So interesting stuff to know. That's, even if it were 88, that's not bad. I'm happy with those numbers. And I think 3521 must be the total number of counts. So. Okay, Leah, I'm gonna leave this to you. I'll bring up the website.
So I did update the homepage for community power, of kind of making it a little bit more up to date for where we are now. Scroll down a little bit more. There's just a launch during summer 2024. Milestones stay the same, and then mentioning that when the letters were mailed, public information session, and the launch will be complete by the end of June.
Okay. By the way, I did get my new electric bill today. As expected, it was not yet. That's not gonna happen for a while.
And then on the news article, we don't need to open it. I just added the PDF of the customer notice that was sent out, the
Okay,
mailing.
Yeah.
Then on the community power page,
I thought that was in there.
it was, and I added it to this page, but I didn't add it to like the news
Oh,
article
okay.
one. So I cleaned up, I moved the block for the meeting that was held and just put it into that first paragraph,
Okay.
just to mention it as Paul suggested. And then last but not least, on the resources page, added in the more specific link for the low-income housing, low-income home energy assistance programs. So some of it's kind of, it's like a web. You can access some stuff on your own, or you can go through the Community Action Partnership to get help with the above things. So I ordered it in this way, but feel free if you have suggestions for ordering it differently.
I'll look
Kind of
through.
thought-
I actually haven't looked at this at all.
I just wanted to make sure that there weren't actually duplicate links. I think some of the links that Matt had brought up were already on here, so I just worded them differently to point out what they were offering. So that was a good.
And also, once you go into some of the links and follow them,
You're gonna go to the same,
find
exactly, like if you go, exactly, so if you go to the low income one, you're gonna get to the New Hampshire fuel assistance and the New Hampshire electric assistance. And then Community Action Partnership will also do those things.
Right.
But they all start somewhere different. All lead to the same place eventually.
Good. I don't
That
have
was-
anything offhand, but I'll look through and see if there's anything else.
That was it. I was gonna ask, I figured now would be a good timing to maybe ask Tiffany for another like snapshot of the the usage of the websites. I still couldn't figure out getting my own account, so your snapshot every few months, hopefully she doesn't mind.
Cindy, I know we had mentioned Stratford Cap, not, that their funds were limited on what they could do.
Yes.
I'm assuming the weatherization stuff is a separate bucket of money from the LIHEAP stuff, which is all federally funded. Do you know? I mean, they don't.
I
run out
don't
of
know. I don't know. I think so, based on what I've been told, that I couldn't 100% say that with confidence.
I'm wondering if people get shut out of the low income assistance if they don't apply.
I saw that when I was browsing those sites. I think there is an application period, but if you missed it, you just call them.
Oh, really? So,
It's
okay,
similar
it's
to
not
strict. I
funded,
think it will
right?
happen again. I think it goes from like September to April. Is the time frame, but then it's after April, just call them.
The average cost of a weatherization program is $12,000, which was higher than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's higher than I thought.
That doesn't include their agency costs, personnel, fringe equipment, and other programming costs associated with the work. This is an average based on 140 full weatherization jobs. New Hampshire.
That's New Hampshire.
Yeah. So you can see they're doing 140 in New Hampshire. I mean, you could do 140 in Barrington, probably. So they're not really capturing a big chunk of
Right.
that. And I think it's because it's not funded.
The SAU, this has been moving excruciatingly slowly between speaking with, what's it, Joe
Joe.
Williams, trying to get a response from them and then getting a response out of the guy at Highland Fleets has been painful. I did finally get the Highland Fleets has now contacted Joe and Deanna, the superintendent, about meeting dates. They're supposed to apply for, sign up for meeting dates. So someday this will happen. It's painfully slow. I did speak to the facilities manager in Durham. He's new, and they're happy to have tours. The tours, he said he's available all summer. He's not going anywhere. He said, so they're available Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. It does have to be during the workday. So I wanted to get a sense from the group of When would you like me to ask for the tour?
I could do Tuesday, Wednesday, or Friday for
Any week?
almost any week, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm flexible too, I think any day will be fine.
So
Is it Dave Toddy? Is he the?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So you said Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yeah, and she said not Friday, so
Friday.
Tuesday or Wednesday. His son is friends with my son.
Anyone else restrictions? No? Okay, I
It's
will.
not 8 a.m. if we could.
That's a good point. Time of day,
Like to be awake.
afternoon. That's
Okay.
what's called afternoon. Okay, I will get a date for that. I will avoid any of the holidays that are coming up. I'm probably gonna try to do it pretty soon in June.
Oh, I didn't realize we would do that soon. I'm gonna be gone the week of the 15th through the 22nd. I guess I was
Is the
supposed for
school
July. Sorry.
Still doing stuff through.
They're off in a few days.
Since
Right, that's not till the 18th.
I think they're the 14th.
That's fine.
but probably have some.
I'll talk to him about it. You said not the 15th to the 22nd.
Yep.
Anyone else have any dates that? Okay. I will talk to him and get a date put together for that. I have done nothing else as far as the SAU goes. I not doing the scene and stuff. I am taking into account what you said. That was a project proposal. We want to know what was done and it was not. But I do need to look through that. Then I'll talk to Joe about it. The guy from Dave Toddy did know Joe Williams. So put in a plug for us. So we'll see. Did people get a chance to look over the site selection criteria? Was the change I made okay? Okay. Any comments, suggestions?
Initially, I know when Tracy Harding had suggested getting some feedback was from both energy and conservation. So will this go through both committees and make it a joint?
I've now officially submitted it to the conservation.
Yeah, we can put it on the agenda
Okay,
next meeting.
okay, good.
Do
Do
you
you
send
want?
it out to the group? I don't
I
recall.
didn't send it to the conservation.
No, I mean to
Yeah,
this.
yeah, I
list.
sent it out to this group this morning.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it this one. Yeah,
Is it just this link in the agenda?
I
Separate.
included the, so there's a link in the agenda. There was a document attached to the email and it's also on the share. I did everything I could. But we can send this out to the conservation as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. I was actually hoping to present that to the planning board this Monday,
Planning board on Monday,
June 10th.
selectmen meeting.
I'm sorry, select board. I guess I'll wait for the conservation commission. We won't do.
I don't think it's a
Yeah,
rush.
they could.
I don't think it's a rush.
Okay.
So,
Okay, that's fine, then we won't have that on the schedule. I did write a letter, on the membership for CENH, sent it to Connor. He is going to put it on, that will be for the select board this Monday. It was pretty much what we had discussed. I said all the wonderful things that they can do for us, some of which they have already done. I also spoke to Katrine and let her know what we were doing, and she was very. So. That would be, and I will go to the meeting this Monday, just in case there's any questions. And we'll get that, the site selection criteria to them. You
Yeah.
did have a chance to look through it, it seemed to me.
Quickly, yeah, I mean, it's a little technical, but I mean, I go better close.
Okay. That's why I put the executive summary.
Yeah, and then the conclusion part was good too.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, great.
So this request has already been sent to the select board? The membership request?
Do you get that? You mean for the membership?
Yeah,
When does that packet go out? You haven't seen that.
Went out
Today.
Oh,
a couple hours ago.
Got it out of the mailbox.
okay. So they have it. Does anyone else have any other old business to discuss? They're getting right through this. Cindy, has there been any contact with Peterborough about the weatherization heat pump stuff?
Matt was supposed to review their website and get back to us and come back to us and tell us what he thought we were going to request for information from them. And they have absolutely agreed they will meet with us. We just give them a couple of dates and times. And my understanding from the last meeting was that Matt was going to review their website and sort of look for things that so we could tell them, not just tell us about you, but specifically what we wanted to know more about.
How to apply it to Barrington?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would like to just slap Barrington Energy on their website and copy and paste everything else.
That's probably a little more to that. They are doing this in conjunction with a community college or tech school.
Yes, yep. They're training people to install heat pumps and people to do insulation and stuff because the goal is by I think it's 2030 to have all the municipal buildings fully electric, fully PV, which is pretty tight
Oh, they're targeting specifically the municipal buildings.
for 2030, and then all of Peterborough by 2050, or some percentage of Peterborough by. I think about all of it though.
Okay. I thought that their first targets were residential.
You can absolutely do residential, but they're not, their first pass is they're trying to assist with the town getting all their buildings. There's a link on their website that anybody can click to, the contractor that they're using for the heat pumps that helps you
Right.
get that started and also get, subsidies and whatnot for it. But when you click that link, it says they're not able to help right now because they're too booked up.
Are we thinking of reaching out to Stafford County Technical College or anything like that?
We haven't thought about that at all, to be completely honest. As far as what we got was, these guys seem to really know what they're doing. We should probably learn more from them. And Matt was gonna report back.
Okay.
So I guess-
When is he back?
Monday.
Oh, I thought he was gone for a long time.
He's back next week.
Okay, good. You have his schedule?
Oh, I just got a text from him. Maybe it said something about it.
Oh, yes, the letter is in the packet.
Good.
One question I would have on the letter, do you know what other towns are members or how many other towns are members?
I don't.
That's always a really good selling point.
I can call Sam and ask him.
Okay, that would be really helpful if you're gonna.
The only other thing was just, I asked for that number about how much it costs to do for home because we had looked at the grant options and they were pretty unwieldy. And could we fundraise to say, hey, help 5 of your neighbors get their homes weatherized so they can really afford their utility bill? I mean, I think we could, but you're looking at $60,000. So it's a little bit more than I thought it was going to be.
Right. Well, yeah, and the trouble is, if they don't want us to talk about what they're doing in any detail, it's hard to do that as well. I'm discouraged with them, to be quite honest.
Well, I think the biggest, so Bob, the guy who's in charge, seems cautious and conservative with his communication, and I'm sure he has reasons for that. And he doesn't have enough money.
Right, yeah,
So-
that I get.
That is the problem. Like, they'll continue to do a couple of homes each year in Barrington, but it's not gonna be more than that unless we come up with money. So, and I think he wasn't saying, I mean, I would obviously get clarification before we did any fundraising effort, and that can be a thing that I work on in the next week or two, but I think he was saying he didn't want us to have a meeting with manufactured homeowners and be like, hey, we can weatherize your house for free, because that's probably not really realistic. But I think if we told him, hey, we're going to fundraise to pay for 5 houses in Barrington every year or something like that, I can absolutely confirm, but I think he'd be very happy about it.
Would he let us talk about it?
I will get clarification from him
Okay,
and report back.
okay, good. When you get those names of the towns that have CNH membership, let me know. So, let's see it cover.
Want the number of towns or a list of?
If there's a list, that's great. If
There's a list that says there's 90 members, that seem to mostly be businesses.
Yeah, specifically the municipal membership.
Yeah, that, I don't.
Yeah, let me know when you get that. Sure. Suspense sound, we'll get back to you. Notable items. Doug is the only one who submitted them.
Well, I just submitted it to you, but I guess that counts. I just thought it was interesting that some folks, I don't recall what outfit, they did an analysis looking at the, I guess it's the total carbon emissions from, and it's not just AI, but
I thought this was
Internet.
from the Guardian.
well, yeah, it was
Okay.
published in the Guardian. I think
Okay.
it was some other outfit.
Okay.
Anyway, they compared it to other sources of carbon emissions, and it came out more than commercial aviation, which isn't the largest one. It's actually only a few percent, but you know, most people think of it as significant. And of course, the internet, AI, Bitcoin mining, all that's all growing, you know, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. So I think it was, you know, concern that you know, despite all their talk about being efficient and helping out, you know, the planet and stuff, these big internet
Data
outfits.
centers are huge users.
Yeah. So just interesting because I had another one too, actually.
You
Offshore
didn't send
wind.
me the link.
No, I mean, it's, I'm not sure there was a specific news report about it, but again, on offshore wind, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, federal agency, completed their leasing process for what's called the research array. This is a small, relatively small wind farm. It would be off of Mid-Coast, Maine. It would generate up to 144 megawatts and be like a dozen turbines. And the innovation here is this would be a floating wind farm. It could be the first floating system in the country whenever it gets built. And the state is looking at what the feds offered, and I don't think they've officially approved it yet. But the biggest question, though, is how is it going to get built? Because right now there's no facilities to build this. You may know that up in Searsport, Maine, there, the state has approved doing
Staging.
a staging area, I mean, a whole port specifically for offshore wind. But that's going to be some years coming together.
Oh,
So-
this wouldn't fall under that umbrella.
Well, yeah, I mean, they would be the first customer, if you will.
Okay.
And it's, the actual system, I think, that is headed up by the University of Maine, Orno. So anyway, it's another good step, you know, to make this real. And of course, hopefully to be followed sometime the next decade with big commercial wind farms when they
Yeah, it's
do the
needed.
auction.
I actually, I didn't reserve the article to report on this, but I had read some information concerning the rollout of solar and wind specifically. And solar has been moving ahead very well. Wind is way behind. Yeah, and wind was expected, I believe, was expected to produce more out of the gate than solar.
You talking about overall or just
Overall.
past year? Because
This was it was the past year.
yeah,
It was the progress that's been made,
Yeah.
the number of gigawatts that's been rolled out.
yeah,
And I'm sure this was because of the economic the
Yeah.
interest rates. And, you know, the solar projects are smaller, probably have an easier time covering. But yeah, and we really need that balance because of the, you know, the intermittent nature has helped enormously by that. And there are other ways to compensate that. Storage technologies, but they add to cost. They're still cost effective. But the expectation really was that you would have some rolling sources that would take up for one another to get those in place. But it will come. Believe it or not, that was all I had.
As for you, sir, from the song, I mailed that check to you in March and it's traveled more in March than I've traveled with the Manchester.
Do you not have a street address?
So I
I do,
apologize.
but it's not a mailbox.
You know,
PO box, and they just can't figure it out.
It's better late than never.
you can don't spend it all in one place.
No. Hey, one of the,
That was my first mistake.
That's the first mistake.
Just a news item, but they figured out that they can increase the carrying capacity of the lineage in the country just by
The
rewiring.
reconductor, yeah,
So that.
oh yeah, double.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a pretty big increase.
Without new permitting, without new towers, without.
Right, well, yeah, I mean, they don't need new corridors for that, it's the huge thing, they don't have to do any
So
land.
what is it that makes that magic happen?
Cable.
They might have, I don't remember what the construction is, but right now, realize when conductors get hot, they stretch.
All right.
And so the old conductors, you know, they basically were steel conductors and they would stretch. And now they can use advanced materials like carbon fiber and things like that, which basically support the core. Or they are the core, they support what's wrapped around them. So it's no longer the steel that's getting hot and supporting it, it's the other materials. So it stretches much, it can handle more current. And I think there's other improvements in the conductors as well. They're lower loss. I can get you information on it.
But I assume there's a big expense replacing all these.
Well,
Yeah, but it's not.
the expense isn't really the issue. The issue is really getting the permitting for, when you have to take land by eminent
Oh,
domain.
yeah, no, I get all that. I'm saying to do this upgrading. Yeah, I mean, you know, sure it's billions, but
It's not,
yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna save billions or
Yeah.
trillions down the
Oh,
road.
it's a fraction of the cost of
Yeah.
the other best.
Yeah, sure.
Wow, that's interesting.
I think I said something too, that stretching the wires makes it more likely that you run into wildfires, you know, things catching, you know, draping onto trees.
Well, but the existing conductors, as they sag, you're more likely to get arc,
Right.
and that's
Yeah.
what starts.
Well, those fires aren't expensive, so that's a big influence.
Okay, folks, that is it. Thank you.
You have the chloroplast?
And I think I'll